My name is Sheriff Richard Del Toro. I'm joined by Detective Eric Wax today from our Internet Crimes Against Children's Unit. And I'm going to give a brief statement and answer any questions you might have regarding this case. So this morning, the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, ICAC unit, executed 2 search warrants in Fort Pierce related to a multi-state child exploitation investigation. The investigation was initiated in coordination with the Evanston Police Department in Illinois and involves the online solicitation and exploitation of a minor. The suspect has been arrested and is identified as James Taylor, 38, a resident of Fort Pierce and an elected public official in the city of Fort Pierce. Taylor was taken into custody this morning without incident following a traffic stop. He faces 24 felony charges, including transmission of materials harmful to minors, transfer or display of obscenity to a minor, harmful communication to a minor, and lewd computer solicitation. These charges all fall under Florida State Statute 847.0135A, which addresses the use of electronic communication to exploit or solicit minors for sexual purposes. The case began in August 2024 when Evanston police were contacted by the mother of a 13-year-old girl who reported inappropriate contact via Snapchat. The communications began when the victim was 12 years old and escalated to the sharing of sexually explicit messages and images. The suspect allegedly sent nude images of himself and solicited similar images from the victim. Evanston PD traced the suspect's activity to St. Lucie County and contacted our office in May of 2025. Our ICAC detectives launched a follow-up investigation after receiving evidence from Illinois' authorities, and a forensic review linked the suspect's IP address to his home and confirmed communication with the victim. This evidence provided probable cause to obtain 2 search warrants that were executed earlier this morning. The suspect is currently in custody, and bond has been set at $250,000 with a hold until first appearance tomorrow morning. The investigation is ongoing. We are conducting a complete forensic review of digital devices recovered from the suspect's residence and office. Currently, we are also working to determine if there are any additional victims regarding the suspect in any future cases. Obviously, we recognize the gravity of this arrest given the suspect's role as an elected official, and we have notified the appropriate oversight authorities and will willfully cooperate with any additional investigations or proceedings regarding his holding of public office. Obviously in this case, he is a public official, but nobody's above the law, and this case is going to be handled with the utmost integrity and transparency and relentless follow-up that we do here at the Sheriff's Office. I just want to say, if anybody's out there believes you or someone that you may know may be a victim in this case or any other cases, please contact our Criminal Investigations Division immediately at 772-462-7300 or submit a tip anonymously through the Treasure Coast Crime Stoppers at 1-800-273-TIPS. We urge anyone with additional information to come forward, and we are obviously committed to protecting the privacy and well-being of the minor involved in this investigation. But I do want to thank all our detectives that were involved in this case, especially our lead detective, Eric Wax, just did an outstanding job. A lot of follow-up to be done on this. I think this is just the beginning of this investigation. I want to thank the Evanston Police Department and obviously our partners at the State Attorney's Office for their diligence and professionalism in helping us get to this point this morning. So we're going to continue to pursue all of our leads, make sure we protect our kids from online predators such as this. But with that in mind, I'll take any questions people may have. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any reason to believe that he used his position as an elected official to try to sway this minor into sending him pictures, messages?
Not at this time, no. Yes, sir, will.
Was there any evidence to suggest that he actually traveled to meet this young girl to have any kind of physical contact, or they actually met in person?
No, there's nothing to suggest that at this time, but we're going to keep reviewing the evidence as it comes in. But from what we understand right now, it's just been the exchange of images at this time.
Can you reiterate just the method of communication that happened at first, that you were notified through the Illinois Police Department over there, how this started?
Yeah, so the mother of the victim, who was 13 when the report was made, 12 when the communications were originally happening, the mother notified the Evanston Police Department in Illinois. Obviously, these images were shared through an electronic device and through an app called Snapchat. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how he even got in contact with this minor?
I don't know exactly. Probably just fishing through the app from what I'm understanding, making contact with multiple people. So that's how we understand it to be right now. Yes, sir.
Do you know if Taylor was in Illinois? It did say on his profile here that he was in Atlanta. Like, how was he here at the time? Like, where was he during all this communication?
I know he did travel out of state, and we're going to be looking into that. But to my knowledge, we don't have any evidence right now that they made any personal contact other
But
than
was
through
he in the area during this communication with the victim?
in Illinois.
In Illinois.
Not to my knowledge, no. Yes, ma'am.
You said you're looking into the fact that there could be other victims out here. Do you have any reason to believe that there could be local victims?
Not sure about local victims right now, but we do believe there's a greater likelihood that there might be other victims based on some statements given, and also, just we're just getting tons of evidence that we have to go through. But our focus right now was on this one victim in this case. But we are going to do a thorough examination. Obviously, we collected some devices today during our search warrants, and we're going to do a forensic analysis of those and take a look at that. Yeah, well.
Where were the search warrants served?
So the search warrants was at his residence and at his place of employment.
At City of Fort Pierce?
No, he has that's a part-time position, his elected position. He has other employment with a local contractor here.
Okay, was there any evidence to suggest that any of this communication could have been happening at Fort Pierce City Hall, or do you know, or,
Not as of this moment, based on this investigation, but we are looking into that, and Fort Pierce, the city, has been very cooperative with us, and I believe will continue to be so as we move forward.
What's
Yes,
the
sir.
process of communicating with a city like this? Because obviously, as you said, elected official, it's going to change a lot. So how have you communicated with them over this entire process?
So the first thing I did this morning was notify, obviously, the elected officials there, or attempted to, if I couldn't get a hold of them, left them a message. I did speak with the city manager, made sure he was briefed accordingly. Our communications director has been in contact with their public information officer, so for the city and not for the police department. So they're, we're exchanging information, keeping them up to speed with the investigation. Obviously, this affects city business, his position on the commission. So they're going to have to make some decisions, based on what their charter states and state laws with elected officials. But that's kind of in their purview. Right now, we're just focused on the criminal investigation, keeping them up to speed, and moving forward from there. Yes, ma'am.
Did he say anything to law enforcement at the traffic stop?
Not directly related to this case. It was kind of a tactical intervention type traffic stop. There was a ruse, and but once he was brought back here, explained the charges, he was cooperative with detectives here, but there's a lot to follow up on that. But he was taken into custody without incident, though.
Does that mean that he did confess to the crimes he's accused of?
I would say that he admitted his role in these and was very remorseful. Obviously, I think mainly because he was caught, and the fact this is a very obviously a big case, and there's a lot of penalties associated with that. So the gravity of the situation, I think, was hitting him at that time. But he cooperated, pretty good with our detectives this morning. Yes.
this may have been covered in something
It's okay.
you said earlier, but I just wanted to make sure. When you said I guess you guys have seized a bunch of electronic devices, storage devices, computers, that sort of thing?
Yes.
And presumably you'll be searching that for any kind of inappropriate images, child pornography type stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a full examination on all his electronic devices to see if there is any more evidence to be gained in this case, and to possibly see if there's any other victims that might be out there. Yes, Tyler?
You may have already touched on this, but how long did this communication last between Taylor and the victim?
How long was the communication?
A couple months.
Been a couple months.
So beginning in the summer of 2024 till...
Well, that's when they
They
came forward with in 2024 of August, and then we got notified in May of 2025. And, in just that short time, they were able to put this case together. They just worked very hard on this case. So I'm very proud of the work that they did on this.
What was the trigger that forced the arrest, that made the arrest? Was there, because it was from May until now.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of stuff you have to go through. You have to go through the messages, the IP addresses, the images themselves, see if you can identify somebody. It's just not something where you can look at and go, okay, we're going to make an arrest right here on the spot in May. You want to make sure you do your due diligence. And again, our arrests are based on probable cause. We work very closely with the state attorney because they have to prosecute this case at a much higher standard like we've talked about in the past. It's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no doubt in my mind, based on the images and the communications that were going on, that he knew he was talking to a minor. He could be identified in these photos, and they were explicit and just, I wouldn't even, inappropriate is not even the word, you know, to say that for an adult dealing with a minor. Yes, sir.
In these chats, or Snapchats or whatever, did he say that, oh, I'm a 38-year-old guy, or did he try to say that he was a 11-year-old boy, or?
What was this communication?
He said he was an adult.
Yeah, so according to the detective, he said he was an adult, and during his interview today, he basically admitted he knew this girl was a much younger age, around 13 years of age. Yes, sir.
Was Taylor home during the search warrant?
He was leaving, we believe, for work this morning. He was stopped on the street during a traffic stop.
So he wasn't home during the execution of the search?
No, he was brought back here. Yes, sir.
This kind of highlights the issue. A lot of times in cases like this, they use Snapchat for communication, thinking that it's not permanent, but obviously through communication with the police department in Illinois, all of that can be traced back if there's a crime like this.
Sure, correct. Yes.
There's quite a few pages of redacted messages between Taylor and the victim here. I mean, is this kind of a lot of communication compared to other crimes you've investigated that are similar?
There's a lot to go through there, and we're not done with the investigation. That's why it needs to be redacted, and the leads we're going to go on. So, you know, it's just there's so much information in a case like this, and it's so technical with, like I said, the IP addresses and the computer codes. It's like speaking a different language. Thankfully, we have people like Detective Wax who, you know, specialize in this. They're trained in this. They understand it. So we have a lot to go through, and I think this is just the beginning of a much larger investigation moving forward.
Have you guys been in contact with the victim, and if so, how'd that go?
We have not been in contact with the victim. Evanston, Illinois was in contact with the victim early on. We have notified them of the arrest, and we're going to be making sure we follow through with the victim to make sure they get the assistance they need.
One just clarification on the charges, you said 24 felony counts. Were there any additional misdemeanor charges? We saw, I think some of the press release that looked like it could have been additional charges that weren't felonies, or is it just the 24 counts?
From what I understand, it's the 24 counts right now, all third-degree felonies, which carry up to 5 years in prison for each count.